Champions Real Estate team here at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate Company. As always, we jump on here on Wednesdays, kind of been a little bit later in the afternoon than we had our normal over the lunch hour time. I'm actually taking my 18-month-old daughter to swim lessons every day for 6 weeks. So over that lunch hour. So probably for the next couple of weeks, probably doing over the afternoon or maybe even beforehand, just seeing how the schedule shakes itself out. But I want to jump on here and just kind of give everyone an update on what's going on in the marketplace. So just kind of by the numbers, we had 441 new listings as of this morning, new contracts 388, and 406 new happy homeowners. Hopefully they're happy. New homeowners out there in the Omaha metro area. So yeah, I mean, the numbers that we're seeing weren't as high as they were last week, but you know, the new contracts are down. I think some of the things, we had a mastermind meeting with a group of agents that get together once a month at Berkshire, and just talking to them on kind of what they're seeing in the marketplace. You know, I think the higher interest rates are kind of, you know, giving some people reevaluate where their monthly payments are going to be. So that may be, you know, people waiting, or, you know, we'll talk about that a little later with Russ, kind of what interest rates and what the cost of waiting potentially may do. But the other thing is, you know, we just saw the volatility in the stock market. I think some people are just kind of, anytime there's any unsettling, and you've heard us say this in many of our other videos, anytime there's uneasiness in the market or in the, you know, the world, you know, be it stuff going on in Ukraine, when that stuff kind of first started bubbling up, you know, those are some things that, you know, people kind of take a step back. So as you see, we didn't necessarily have as many contracts as we had written in the previous week. But let's jump in. Let's take a look at, here we go. I stopped sharing that one. Go to the next one. Kind of 30,000 foot view of it here. So then we had the about just under 1,400 active homes on the MLS, and then we had 1,400, and breaking that down a little closer to home in the Douglas-Sarpy County area, just over 700 homes. We have breached the 300 mark going into existing homes that you can take a look at for your viewing pleasure today. So get in there quick, because we're only 2 up on that. So if we get a couple more under contract, we'll be back below the 300 mark. So new construction kind of hover around that 415 mark's been there for a little while. One month supply of inventory, average sold price is at 304,000, going through that mark of it. So, but like I said, you know, I think activity out there is still pretty steady. I know, you know, reading the national headlines and stuff, you hear a lot of things. I had actually a client of mine, previous client and current client, you know, send me a text message this morning, just kind of saying, hey, is the market slowing down, or what's the deal on it? You know, you accompany that with an article of what's going on nationally, you know, in that sense of it. So typically what's going on nationally isn't necessarily always what's going on here locally. So I always suggest, you know, reaching out to myself or someone on Champions Real Estate team to give you kind of a pulse on what's going on. You know, I just had a listing go active last week. We sold it over the weekend, basically sold it on the first day. You know, we only had 5 showings on it. You know, is it priced at 600,000? So, you know, at that upper price point, you're seeing, you know, not as many showings, but you're still seeing those active buyers that are ready, willing, and able to pull the trigger are looking at those houses. You know, if they're, you know, good solid houses out there, you know, so that not necessarily seeing the 15, 20 offers on houses. Maybe those houses that were getting those 15 to 20 offers are now getting 5 to 10, and those ones that may be getting, you know, 5 to 10 offers are getting 1 or 2 offers. So it is setting that expectation with your clients, you know, that we're working with on what's going on in the marketplace, you know. And then there are some of those sellers, which I showed one last night. I was sharing a picture with Russ here just before we got on, and I showed a house last night. You know, house needed some work. Literally the sewer main, you know, the elbow of it was duct taped, you know, to keep it from leaking. And I'm like, that doesn't seem like the greatest repair job in a water main, you know, on the sewer line going in, you know, basically getting all the waste out of your house. So that house was priced, I felt, significantly higher, because I think some of those sellers right now think, yes, it is a seller's market. We can just put it on the market and there's going to be a whole flood of people going out there wanting to buy our house. Well, at the right price, you know. So if that house needs repairs and anything to that sort, you know, buyers are picky. Buyers know what's going on in the marketplace. They know what 200,000 gets them. They know what 600,000 gets them, you know, across the board, especially if those agents that are, you know, constantly working in the market on a day in and day out basis know exactly what's going on. And, you know, and we're educating our buyers on, no, you don't need to overpay for this house. You know, if you like it and you want to do the repairs and want to do the maintenance, this is probably where we should be on this price point, and making sure that we're doing doing an education, coaching our clients through that process, and not just getting you a house because we may have missed out on other homes, and when we do see that house that's updated, nice, neat, all that fun stuff, then maybe you push all your chips all in and try to get that house. And those are the houses that we may be seeing those 5, 10, 15 offers. There was a house I wrote on last week. I think the agent told me they had like 15 offers and we came in second. I think it just basically came down to financing, in that sense, that they had a cash offer, could close a little sooner than a financing offer in that regard. So, it is still very competitive out there. We're not necessarily maybe seeing the ginormous size of offers, which I think also agents, have gotten to the point where we don't need the feather in our cap and post on social media that I got 30 offers on a house, because, after you get 5 or 10, you don't need that many, and it's holding all those offers until Sunday. You may be losing out on buyers, because they don't want to wait till Sunday. They want to see if there's something else that comes up. They may want to put an offer in on that house, rather than, if your house is still there on Sunday and they don't find it, great, they'll maybe put an offer. But those are some of those things that as agents, they're doing it day in and day out. And we see that, it's like, hey, put in a solid offer, or let's go look at another house and kind of rank where you want to be at. Do you want to wait till Sunday? And obviously those sellers can choose to accept an offer at any time. Just because they put in MLS that it's going to be offers all on Sunday, that seller can do what the seller wants to do when they sell their house, essentially. At the direction, we take direction from the sellers, when we give advice and guidance and coaching. But inevitably they have, from the real estate commission's perspective, the sellers have the final say on what they want to do with their house, as long as it's ethics and all that stuff are in line with that. But as when I'm selling a house, my goal is to get the highest price, and the best terms, for that house. And obviously same things on when a buyer, coaching and educating, make sure that they know what they're getting into, in regards to that. So yeah. Okay, Russ, I know we touched on just a little bit kind of what interest rates were doing. I've had some clients, people just talking in general that maybe they want to go on the sidelines and, wait till interest rates kind of calm down or the activity calms down. I think we've kind of beaten the drum here the last, year, saying, as we've said, interest rates are probably going to be going up, in that regard, which they have. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is like the largest increase in the shortest amount of time in the last 30 or 40 years of how fast that they've jumped, in that regard. So I guess you're more the expert on that, but that's just some of the things that I've been hearing. But I guess so. What do you know?
Mark, I think you hit it on the head, and it's important for viewers to look past the headlines and to talk with a professional like the folks on your team about what the market is. Interest rates, yes, they are at 15-year highs, and maybe will move even higher in the short term. We do see some silver lining that we could see some improvement in interest rates as early as maybe late fourth quarter or early next year. And to your point, when folks hear those news reports that say that housing is softening, to go from 10 offers on a property to 5 is still a very strong seller's market. And going back to your average sale price this week, $304,000. If we only saw home prices rise by 5.75% over the next year, which I think they may beat that. But if we only saw them rise by that amount, and if interest rates did drop next year, like I think they will, you'd have the same payment on a house you're buying this year at the $304,000 price that you would have on next year's home price. It's almost $17,500 higher at the lower interest rate. And the point that I want to make, Mark, is buy the house at today's price. And if rates do go down, refinance it next year, we can save several $100s in payment for you for just a couple $1,000s in closing cost. And that's far less than the appreciation that you've lost by not owning that home over the next year. So that home today at $304,000, if we saw just under 6% appreciation, next year would sell for about $321,500, which means you're borrowing more, putting more money down, and your overall payment is going to be the same as it would this year. So buy it this year, and we'll redo the financing next year when the rates drop.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I've been telling my clients as well. That same type of thing is that get that, I call it your house savings account, your home equity. And that if you do have that appreciation, that's just money going into essentially your house savings account, that you could pull out, in a home equity line of credit if you needed that. But yeah, you're not building your equity. And if you are renting a house, if you're in a house and you're looking to move up or move down, in that regards, or your life needs change, then great, you're still keeping that equity, in that sense. But if you're out there renting a house, I'll tell you right now, rents have been going up. And I think, I work with investor clients as well, that are buying houses to rent out. And those ones that are buying houses with financing, those interest rates are at 6.75%, roughly 6.5%. So they're higher than your primary residence interest rates. And what's going to happen with that increase in those interest rates? That means the rents are going to go up, because those investors are not going to take, just break even on an investment property, because, when they own an investment property, yes, they want to make some, cash flow. So a little bit of money on top of that, but people think that they're being greedy potentially of taking that cash flow. Well, when that furnace, breaks down, or they need a new roof, they need siding, they need windows, that's where they basically pay is basically from that cash flow through that property aspect of it. So they're going to turn around, that I've seen some of the numbers I've ran on a, $250,000, $300,000 house, that those monthly payments now with that higher interest rate are $1,700, $1,800, $1,900 a month. And those houses that are 250 or, let's say it's a tri-level with 1,700 square feet on average, are renting, depending on area and all that kind of fun stuff and condition, 1,500 to, 2,000. Well, that's barely breaking even. If not, you might be upside down from an investment standpoint. So those are some things that if you are renting a house, that rent's going to go up, typically, more than likely. Obviously, taxes go up, insurance goes up. So that all gets passed, onto essentially that tenant. But if you can get into a house now, even if interest rates, like you said, are a little bit higher, then next year, then jumping into it next year, well, we're going to save money for that down payment. Well, if that appreciation goes up, the monthly payment goes up, you just need more money for that, initial investment, which is still a good, it's going, basically putting that money into your house savings account, but you're depleting your cash reserves. So
yeah, you're exactly right, Mark. When you buy a house, you can fix the loan portion of your payment for 30 years. Show me anywhere that you can fix your rent payment for 30 years. You can't do it.
Yeah. I mean, inevitably that rent payment's going to go up, and it's not because that, owner is being greedy. It's their taxes go up, their insurance goes up, maintenance goes up. I know the home warranty deductibles that, I know some of my investors buy the home warranties to help with the maintenance side of it. It just went from $75 per trade call up to $100 per trade call. So if you got a tenant in there that something's always breaking in the house or calling, and that's from a $75 to $100, more than likely that owner's basically going to say, all right, hey, rent was $1,000, now it's $1,025, just to cover that initial cost in that regard. So, but yeah, so if you have any questions about the investment side of it, if we can help you out in any way, shape, or form on getting you into a home, like we said, whether that's now, 6 months, a year from now, let us know. If you're thinking of selling your house, what do you need to do to maximize, that sell price? And I think right now too, it is, as agents, it's finding that sweet spot of that house, because, the houses are, you don't want to overprice it. You don't really want to underprice it, because, if you're not getting those multiple offers, if you're only getting 1 or 2 offers, you may not drive that price up. If you're listing it a little lower, expecting, oh man, we're going to get 30 offers and it's going to drive it up 30 grand. That might not happen. So you have to find that sweet spot. So working with agents, like myself in the Champions Real Estate team, that can price that, are in the market, are showing houses and listing houses, and know exactly what's going on in the market, is very, very important. Because if you have an agent that's, kind of doing a little bit, haven't really been in the trenches, they may still think we're getting 40, 30 offers on houses, and that may not be the case in your area. Price, point, condition, all that kind of fun stuff. So give us a holler. We're happy to help you. And we'll be on probably about this same time next week on Wednesday. I don't know, Russ, you have anything else you wanted to touch on or add?
No, any questions, make sure you reach out to somebody on Champions Real Estate. You're also welcome to reach out to me. We'd be happy to answer your questions.
Yep. Yeah. Awesome. So appreciate everybody, and have a great rest of the week, and stay cool out there. It went from 0 to 100, literally, I feel like. So I don't know where spring went. We didn't really have a spring. So, but anyways, take care, and have a great week.